This is Champagne Confidential,
where real conversations meet real life.
We're a therapist
And a lawyer.
and longtime friends.
Who are not afraid to talk about the things most people avoid.
We're talking motherhood,
Relationships,
work, pressure, and boundaries.
hard conversations.
The kind you usually only have after hours.
No scripts,
No filters.
just honest conversations.
So grab a glass, you're invited into the conversation.
It's an honor when someone calls me a Karen.
Everyone's intention is always to be a good person.
Doing the bare minimum is not enough. There's no room for mediocrity. Everybody doesn't deserve a trophy. Second place is the first loser.
Work towards becoming first place.
So today we're going to talk about Karens. And, you know, the Karen is such a negative connotation, but can a Karen be a good person?
Yeah.
I sometimes consider myself to be a Karen, but in a good way. And
yeah.
I don't know that it's a negative and I actually feel bad for Karens in general because I think they're not all bad. I think they're just calling it out like it is. And honestly, I respect those people.
Yeah, they're caught in the wrong moment at the wrong time.
Like, can you be a good Karen?
Right. You know what it is? I feel bad for these types of situations because I feel like everyone's intention is always to be a good person, right?
Right.
And sort of go about things in a way that they think is the right way to go about it. So I don't know. Are we just like picking apart society a little bit here?
Well, all right, let's start with this because I think this is the easiest way to get to the crux of the problem.
Okay.
I want you to think about this. I'm going to let you rest on this, but I'm going to talk about my number one pet peeve. Okay. So what would your number one pet peeve be? Think about this. Mine is when I go out to dinner with someone and the waiter comes over and the waiter says, still or sparkling? And someone else, this one, someone else at the table, right? One of my guests, one of my friends responds and says, still for the table.
Ugh. Why?
Right. First of all, aside from the fact that you're wanting still, who gave you the right to make that decision for the whole table, right? I feel like I love sparkling, and I feel like when someone says and assumes without asking,
Yeah.
if you're going to do that,
Okay, I get
the
that.
appropriate answer is we'll take a bottle of still and we'll take a bottle of sparkling.
Right. Or what would you like?
Right. So immediately I'm off put by my dining partner who should know better. I think that's like my number one pet peeve. And by the way, people know this about me to the point where it's almost uncomfortable. So
I'll be honest, I didn't know this about you,
that's
but
crazy,
I would
with
choose
me
many
often.
But I would always choose sparkling.
Well, that's the thing.
It's
So
not
you're
the
a
debate,
sparkling
I
girl,
guess.
so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Right? So we never have this back and forth.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there's
to
been
even
situations.
inquire about the rest of the table, to even say, like,
Have
what
the
would you like?
respect.
Yeah, respect.
Have a little respect. And I think, again, I know it's not coming from a negative or bad place, but like, people shouldn't assume, right?
Yeah. No,
All right. Have I given you enough time?
I mean, I agree with you. I think that's, definitely an assumption to make a decision for the entire group. That's not cool.
By the way, now it's awkward. So when I go out to dinner with people who know that this is my pet peeve, when the waiter
now
comes
I know.
over and
Maybe a little more.
says still or sparkling, like everyone immediately looks to me
you,
like
you're supposed to make the decision.
we don't want to upset her. On the Karen at the table.
Okay.
I know.
But you know what? I don't know if that's the worst thing. In this scenario, I don't think that's the worst thing.
I think it's just teaching
But
social
isn't it-
graces.
Well, right. Isn't it manners to see what everybody else
But why
would
does
like?
everyone assume that everyone wants still? Anyway.
Beats me. I don't know.
We are Champagne Confidential, so we like the
bubbles.
clearly we like the bubbles.
We like the bubbles, but you know what it is? It's just the etiquette. It's the etiquette of being able to say, okay, I like this, but what does everybody else like? Do I care about what everybody else likes?
It says a lot about you.
Yeah.
So
you know what I find incredibly annoying is the fact that you'd even have to have this conversation, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the fact that this would be like considered a privileged conversation.
So I'll tell you.
Because you go out to dinner. But honestly, everybody at some point goes out to dinner, and this might be a point of conversation.
Right.
Why not just care about what everybody else wants? Maybe it's, here's a better example. Okay, would you like bread for the table? And someone just says, no bread. I can't stand that.
Or dessert.
Let me look at the menu.
I'd like to look at the menu. Always. I always want to look at the menu.
Don't make that decision for me.
Right. And don't make me feel bad about wanting to look at the menu.
Or eating the bread.
Right. Or eating the bread.
I want the bread.
So that kind of maybe that would all fall under my number one pet peeve umbrella.
Yeah.
You know, and embarrassingly enough, I was with my husband at kind of like a networking event, and that was the question. So it's almost like a fun game to play with people, because you learn a lot about people when you're like, all right, so what's everyone's number one pet peeve? And I didn't even hesitate. Like that was it. And when I said it, everyone at the table kind of looked at me and they were like, because I'm with a bunch of type A personalities, and every single one of them has been in a situation where they encountered it and they said still. I'm sure.
They said still.
I'm sure they did at the moment, because that's like I'd love to do a poll on like how many people prefer still over sparkling. But I mean, so the answer is, for anyone who's listening in, if you are approached by a waiter and they say still or sparkling, just say we'll take a bottle of each.
Yeah.
Bread or
make
not,
everyone happy.
Bring the bread
Just
and
bring
don't
the
eat
bread.
it. Right. If you don't want it, it's fine.
Don't eat it.
Dessert, let's take a look. We'll decide if we want it.
This can't hurt you.
Yeah. All right. Do you have a pet peeve, or are we like,
you know what my pet peeves are? And I don't know if it directly relates to like Karenism or whatever you
I think they all relate. I think all pet peeves relate to Karenism.
I have and my husband rips me apart for this, but I swear it's the truth. I have sound sensitivity.
Okay.
I cannot stand when someone is watching a show on TV and on their phone and listening to the like video on the phone. Or if like someone is like, I love my daughter to death, she's the best. But like if she's singing full volume, okay, I lose it. Like I have a sound thing. If I'm in a place where there's like multiple sounds happening at a time, I don't know what it is. It just drives me crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think you're looking for a little bit of like peace.
Yes.
And again, maybe something like that would be seen as a Karenism, because here all you want after a very busy day is just a little bit of like
I'll be the person to say, can you turn the music down?
Yeah.
Like we're trying to have a conversation at dinner and the music is so loud that you can't even speak.
Right.
You can't even hear the person across the table.
Right.
That peeve of mine.
So I'll tell you, there is a new restaurant that opened in town. And it's a great restaurant. The food is phenomenal. The service is phenomenal. And they open up a new section. And I went out for dinner with my husband, just the two of us. We asked for a table. They put us in the new area.
I need to know what it is.
I do that right now.
You'll tell me later.
It was so loud. We sat down, it was echoing. The music was loud. It was like a party. And like clearly there's two of us, right? We're not looking for the party vibes. We're looking for a nice dinner. We want to catch up. We haven't spoken all week. It's, you know, and what do? They stick us in the party room with the loud music, the screaming kids. And I'm like,
that's the worst. Read the room.
Read the room. Right. So pet peeve. And again, all of these pet peeves, and I feel like people are listening. Are we Karens for this?
Right.
All right. I'm going to give you another one. And you're going to, so this past weekend, I traveled to Austin with my sister-in-law for my cousin's bachelorette party.
Okay.
Now, clearly we are much older than the bachelorette and her friends. So we instead opt to stay at a hotel. We stayed at a really nice hotel. We're leaving our families behind. We want like a relaxation weekend, right? Obviously, we enjoyed all of the bachelorette festivities. We're staying at this hotel, and they ask, do you want any upgrades? So my upgrade is the sleep ritual. And I immediately click on that. I'm like, that sounds great. We're out all day. We're having a fun time with the girls. We go back to our hotel. We're looking to relax, right? We need a little R&R. So with that, it includes like a nice sleepy time tea, a CBD gummy. Like we're going to really relax. And an eye mask that apparently massages your eyes. I'm like, that sounds great. It's a treat for my sister-in-law. I'm going to surprise her. Fine. We're in the room. I see the sleep ritual. There's one tea bag.
Oh.
There's one mask.
No.
And I'm like, I call down right away. I'm like, I paid for 2. And they're like, we're really sorry, but we only have 1 available.
No.
Yes.
First of all, are they sharing these masks with others?
I'm hoping there's a really good like cleaning, like whatever. We're gonna ignore that part. That's like
secondary. Okay.
Yeah, but that is a concern. That is an issue. And I thought about it anyway. So now I'm there. I see this. I call down to the front desk, and they tell me, "Well, we're sorry, we only have 1." And I'm like, it's not making any sense. 1 tea bag, 1 sleep mask, 1 CBD gummy.
Okay.
So now
split it in half.
So what do we do? No. We share the tea bag. We each
no.
Yeah, we did. We didn't use the eye mask, and we split the CBD gummy. Fine. Now we wake up in the morning. We're ready to have a shower. The shower. And by the way, this hotel is a nice hotel.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about like a 1-star, the middle of nowhere. This is a nice hotel. So we take the shower. The temperature is like over 100 degrees, and you can't change it. There's no way to reduce the temperature.
Okay, it's bad.
Bad news across the room. So now I get out of the shower. I take the hottest shower I've ever taken. My sister-in-law and then I'm thinking, is it me? I'm always going to self-reflect. Is it me? Am I not working this the right way? My sister-in-law goes in. She has an awful shower. Same thing.
Hot water, that's crazy.
Hot, like I was scalding hot. Like we could have gone to the emergency room. So now we leave the hotel. We call them. We're like, listen, you might want to check out the temperature gauge in that room. Yeah. We leave. They have the nerve to send us an automated text. Are you enjoying your stay at the hotel?
Oh, no.
We hope you are. If you have any comments, please comment. Well.
And you're like...
I write back a novel, right? I'm like, first of all, sleepy time ritual is no good. Second of all,
sleepy time ritual.
You need to fix the temperature game.
Okay.
And third of all, while you're at it, please give us new linens. Fine. They write me back and they say, no problem. We will fix the temperature gauge and we're going to give you new linens. So I write back and say, thanks.
Wait, what was wrong with the linens?
I just want a new one.
Oh, just fresh.
That's it, right. I mean, just fresh.
Karen.
It was just like a little Karen, like add that in, right?
Okay.
Just to be sure.
Got it.
So now I write back and I say, thanks. Remember this phrase, thanks for doing the bare minimum. Right. So they call me
where
now.
It hurts.
Now they're like, this Karen is going to comment and so
they're doing like a little bit.
They know. So now they call me, right? And they're like, we are so sorry. We are going to send you a new sleep ritual. And I was like, 1 again? Are we going to split another tea bag?
Okay.
They said, no, we're going to give you 2 sleep rituals. And would you like a bottle of wine? Would you like a charcuterie board? Would you like a face mask? And I was like,
all the things you love.
So my answer?
All of it.
We would. We're not gonna pick one. We're gonna pick them all.
Go for it.
Lo and behold, they bring them all.
Okay.
And that made for a really nice evening. By the way, I bought those face masks for myself and my husband and brought them home. So like, was I a Karen?
I mean, listen, you paid for a service. They didn't deliver. That's where I would stand on that. I don't care if you're a millionaire or you have nothing. If you pay for a service and you're supposed to have what the service says, you should have what the service says.
I kind of agree with that. My feeling is, especially when you're talking about something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like you're away, you're trying to have a good time,
right?
You're relaxing.
You work hard, you just want a moment of relaxation.
Right, and I don't know that accounts for a Karen encounter.
No, I think that's completely reasonable.
Justified. Okay.
1,000%.
Well, thank you. Do you have any more? Do you have any? Because I feel like
let me think. I feel like
I'm the Karen in the room.
No, you're not. No. Well, we had a situation together.
We did.
We had a situation together. look, it's no surprise. We love our Disney vacations. And when we go to Disney, we're not staying in, off property. We love to stay at our high accommodations. That's what we like. We both are DVC members. It's something we really value. And I think with that, we expect a level of service, right? And we had gone one year with our friend Heather, and we checked in, like lesson learned. We checked in a little bit late. Probably should have checked in right when we got there.
Never check in late.
But who knew, right?
Right.
And we ended up getting this room that was really disgusting. And we were met with a lot of resistance at first, attitudes. I mean, this is what's like, I feel like is like, even just from a business perspective, right? And I think that's where we come from. It's like, you're mentioning this situation with the hotel, and this particular situation that we experienced, we're coming from it as like, if I were in your position, if I had a business and this was what I'm standing by, I would not be okay with these accommodations. I would not be okay with given a service that you paid for and it not turning out as it was, right? You need to kind of do damage control in those situations. Right. So are we bad people for pointing that out and wanting what we paid for? I don't know if that really qualifies.
Right. I do agree with you. I think you're probably right. I think that's where we're coming from, because there's an element of, if I were met with these complaints, right? And listen, every business goes through some sort of growing pains. There's some sort of, whether it's they're unhappy with an employee, they're unhappy with something, immediately my gut reaction is, what can I do to fix this?
Of course.
Right? You never want a client to walk away with a bad taste in their mouth. I mean, obviously there are things outside of your control. And I think that for me, at least, I am always okay with anything that happens as long as the reaction is positive, right? And I'm not the person, because I understand what a negative comment can do for a business.
Sure.
I'm never going to be the first person to go
to those lengths. Yeah.
But I mean, I find it interesting that there are businesses who are not accommodating in that same manner.
I agree completely. And I think that's definitely a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
I feel like we had this situation in Disney, and I will say they handled it impeccably. And I think because both of us are so invested in our Disney memberships and we almost expect the Disney treatment, and that's how we run our businesses. Right. So when you're in environments where they don't do that, then it's really sort of shakes you a little bit. It's like, what kind of business are you doing here? And I feel like we had this experience, real quick, where we were brought to a room that was, smelled terribly. We were in a very, low, on the bottom level of the property. It wasn't one of the nicer rooms, and we had paid for a stay where we had, and they did us right. Look, they moved us. At first, there was a little bit of hesitation, and then we were able to move to a better space. We had a beautiful view. They complimented us with balloons and a beautiful gift, and they made up for it, right? And I think you and I are very used to the Disney accommodations. I was then following that on a trip where I was in, where was I? Was it Myrtle Beach? Oh, no, it was Topsail Beach. I was in North Carolina with my cousin. And we get this condo that we paid a good amount of money for. We're on the ocean front. It was a beautiful condo to begin with both of our families. And the back door, the exit onto the beach, would not lock. And my cousin and I were like, this is crazy. She's got a 4-year-old. He could walk out onto the beach, God forbid. There could be a million reasons what could go wrong. And I remember I was sort of being the Karen in this situation. I contacted the person, the property manager, and I was like, this is unacceptable. We need a lock on the door. God forbid someone tries to break in. God forbid someone, one of the kids gets out. This is not okay. We're right on the water. Something could happen. And this woman was so reluctant, and she fought me. And I'm not a combative person. Anyone that knows me, I'm pretty even-keeled. I never really start fights. She was going back and forth with me. And I remember I got off the phone afterwards, and my cousin's like, You know, Danielle, I think the problem is that you're used to Disney accommodations.
Maybe.
And this place is not trying to meet you where you are. And I'm like, oh my God, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I have this standard of what I think customer service should be. And I even mentioned to her this woman on the phone, I was like, I'm a business owner. If someone was coming to me with a safety concern, that would be my utmost priority.
Sure.
To ensure the safety of the people in the home. And the fact that you're minimizing it and telling me you're going to send someone out tomorrow and you have an emergency, line, but you're not going to even call them because it's, I think it was like 9:00 at night. And she was like, well, they all went home for the evening. And I'm like, this is a safety concern. What if one of the kids get up in the night or there were so many things really. And then my cousin sort of bringing me down to earth being like, okay, wait, you're used to a certain level of, service. And this isn't Disney. We're in, a really small beach community here, and they don't necessarily have maybe the resources or the staff. And I won't lie, it sort of made me feel like a little bit like a Karen, but I was like, honestly, we paid for this.
Right.
I'm sorry, a basic amenity, like a locked door
by the beach. Yeah.
Am I crazy?
No.
That's just
no. And I also
bare
think
minimum.
that there's something to be said for how you run your own business, right? I mean, my standard is if someone contacts me with any sort of complaint, they don't like the way someone looked at them when they walked through the front door, I'm going to rectify that immediately, right? As a business owner, maybe it comes from that. Maybe it comes from years of Disney and just really, knowing how to deal with my clientele and make sure that they feel that they're getting the best service possible. And I honestly think that if everyone across the board operated in that manner, we would be in such a much better situation, right? Across the board.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I had a situation that really boiled my blood the other day. My oldest son, rides the train every day.
Okay.
And he rides to Mineola. He goes to school. He was taking his trimesters. He's dressed like a gentleman, right? They have to dress in a button down and a tie and a blazer, and they look lovely. It's hard enough to put him on the train and send him off by himself, and then wait for him and follow the train on my little app to make sure he comes home. Aww. Anyway, he's on his way home and he sends me a text and he says, Mom, the conductor made me buy a ticket for someone else. And I'm immediately in Karen mode. And I'm like, why? And he said, because he didn't have a ticket and he didn't have any money. So my response is, well, do you know him? He doesn't know him. Okay.
Some random person?
It's a random student who was dressed
he's
like
wearing
him.
the same. Okay.
So he was dressed similar to him. And,
that's crazy.
Immediately, I'm thinking to myself, how dare, I said, who told you had to buy this kid a ticket?
Was he sitting with him?
It was the conductor. The conductor said, you must pay for his ticket. So, my son,
they were sitting with each
14.
other. I mean,
I think they were in the area. Like, I don't even, and exerted his power over my son to say, you need to buy a ticket for him. And he did, right? Because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So obviously, my response is to screenshot every single text he sends me, send it to the MTA, lodge a complaint, send it to everybody that I know working with the MTA. Because my thought is, these kids, how dare you, exert and take advantage of it. It's not about, it was a $10 ticket, by the way, and the family was lovely and sent me a $10. It's not about the money. It's about the fact that these are people in power who are exerting their power over young kids.
Right.
And I think I actually have like very low blood pressure. And after that, my Apple Watch was like through the roof. And I could not, in fact, I'm talking about it now, I could not have complained more.
Yeah.
And I wonder.
What what was underneath it? Like, why did it upset you so much, you think?
I think because I don't like the idea of kids who are just doing the right thing being taken advantage. And I asked him, I said, what? Because the person that I was speaking with said to me, well, what does the conductor look like? What train was he on? What, you know? And I said to my son, what did he look like? He said he had white hair. He had a white beard. So obviously he's an older man. And I had the problem with someone older trying to take advantage of a young kid who's just doing the right thing.
Right.
You know, and I think that for me...
Why didn't they point it on the child who didn't have the ticket?
Listen, he didn't have money. He didn't have, you know...
Oh, so they tried that first.
I think they did. Yeah, I think they did. And I think they just looked at him to say, well, you're dressed like him, so you pay for his ticket, which, again, is wild.
Yeah.
Because in any other setting, and again, my son being, you know, understanding this is an elder, right? You have to be respectful. Go ahead and buy the ticket. But being like forced into a corner, I just thought it was such an inappropriate, uncomfortable situation. And now I have this child who, again, rides the train every day. And I don't know that he needs to be in a situation where he feels uncomfortable.
Yeah. Or it has to be accountable for other people.
Or that.
Right? Like he's just doing his thing. Why is he being, even if it was a friend.
Right.
But clearly this is someone he doesn't even know. So that's like another level
maybe
of
they're friends now. I feel like that was like a... You know,
brought them together.
It was a whole experience. Right. But again, does that make someone a Karen?
Does that make it okay? Yeah.
You know, what is the definition of a Karen is what I truly would want to know.
We should look it up.
Is it someone who just... Right, I wish we had
I had my phone on.
Is it someone who complains unjustifiably, or is it someone who complains about everything?
Right.
You know?
James, can you look it up for us?
I mean...
James is behind the scenes, but maybe he could help us find out what the definition of a Karen is.
I'm curious because I feel bad for just Karens in general
If you're stuck with that name... Oh. And you know what? I know a lot of nice Karens.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
My therapist is a Karen, and I don't think of her as a Karen.
No.
I love her.
No, I had a Karen.
Yeah, all right. What is it? You got it there?
Often depicted in memes as using her privilege to her own way, such as asking to speak to the manager or exhibiting
racist behavior.
All right, well, I disagree with that because I'll be honest with you, none of my pet peeves or complaints have ever been under that realm of racist. But I would definitely say I've complained.
Yeah. But so now you can't complain to management when there's a problem?
Right.
I mean, that's the next course, I would feel, of action. If you've tried to deal with the person you're dealing with, it's not working out. Look, I sort of get the privilege piece, but I also feel like, on the other hand, it's like, okay, so you're staying at a nice hotel, you're paying for it, you work hard, you have, you know, this ability to enjoy a nice, relaxing time. You have a problem while you're there. So now you're supposed to say, oh, wait a minute, because of my privilege, I'm not going to complain to the manager when you have a problem. I mean, that's the problem
ridiculous.
Is a problem, in my opinion. I don't care where you are, what's going on. I think anyone would elevate a problem that's not being handled by the staff to a manager.
Well, and by the way, in the same breath, you're staying in a 1-star motel, you're staying in a 5-star hotel. If you don't have hot water, comfortable water to shower in, it's the same complaint. There's no privilege there, right? Or another pet peeve, I'm going to bring this up.
Sleep ritual, maybe that's a little privilege.
Sleep
but you know
ritual is
what?
privilege. That's fine. I'll give you that. But again, I paid for it.
But you paid for it. Exactly.
So, okay, how about this one?
Sleep
and this would
ritual.
affect, maybe I should have mentioned that one.
I need a sleep ritual. Okay.
By the way, it was great. So my husband's number one pet peeve is when he goes into a public bathroom. So now this could be anywhere. This could be in the school. This could literally be anywhere. And the entire countertop is wet. So like, you know, when you go to wash your hands and the entire countertop is wet and he tries to put something down on the countertop and whatever he's putting down is getting wet. His arm's getting wet. There's nothing privileged about that.
Why can't somebody just
everyone
wipe
uses
the
the bathroom. Just clean it up. Clean it up.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything like
just,
privileged about that.
Hygiene.
Right.
The hygiene
I think we're talking about people meeting the bare minimum in anything and everything that they do. And I think when we start to accept a lesser degree of professionalism, that's when things go haywire.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm just thinking of this recent well, I guess it was sort of maybe last summer, the situation that happened in our town. And it had me thinking about Karens, and I think Karen can be used loosely. It doesn't have to be a male or like a female.
Sure.
It could be a male, right? And I feel like in some of these situations, we tend to find ourselves like overanalyzing or whatever the case is. But in this particular case, everything's on social media now, right? Our kids are aware of it. Our kids know that, and this is something we've had to tell them, that there are local pages that focus in on our community and basically, try to maybe an effort to create safety and to create security, but also in an effort to sort of like point out and be a Karen in that sense, right? Like I'm going to highlight what you did wrong or what your wrongs as a parent or what your kid is doing. Your kid, and recently our local pages have prohibited putting up photos of children in the community.
Which, by the way, I very much agree with. I do feel that kids should never be
exposed.
The focal point. Right.
Having some sort of boundary, right? Like, what are we doing here?
They're
These
minors.
are children. And, when we were kids, we would do stupid things and nobody would even know about it. It was like just under the radar. You just did what you did. And now our kids are really under this like criticism. So anyway, this local business owner, he happens to be backed up against I would call it maybe like a little bit of like a stream or a river or something like that behind his business. And he has a camera back there and he's recording, I guess, for safety concerns. And there happens to be a bunch of children that take their bikes and they might have been 10 or 11. They were young and they're behind the building and they're, I guess it was considered his property. They weren't, from the videos, it looked like they were behind his property, but it's hard to say. I don't know where the lines are there. And they were throwing rocks in the river, right? And they had some preferred language, let's say. They were dropping some F-bombs, just being kids, right? This is like part of being kids.
And by the way, good for them.
Right? Honestly, I saw this post and I was like, okay. But first and foremost,
let it out.
They're on their bikes.
Right.
They're outside.
Right.
We complain about this all the time, how kids are not getting outside. They're on their devices all the time. They're not, out with friends. Like, here's a group of kids that are outside.
Right.
They're on their bikes. They're, they were even wearing their little helmets. Like, I don't think they were terrible children. I think they were just being kids. And yet there's this scrutiny. So anyway, these videos were posted online that, this person was saying they were not being kind to the animals that were there. Apparently there were like some swans. It didn't, from the video I witnessed, and again, I'm just like a bystander in all this, but like, it didn't look like they were aiming for the ducks. It was, and I'm not sure that even any animals were injured because I would have a big problem with that.
Right.
But they were just throwing rocks in the pond and like saying curse words. I mean, it was very childish stuff. Anyway, as a business owner, I would totally take a step back and think about the repercussions because the moms in our town went nuts and were like attacking this post like, oh my God, how dare you show these children's faces? They're just kids. They're trying to, they're having fun. They weren't harming anyone. Maybe they didn't even know it was your property.
Right. Well, I do agree with that. I mean, I have to say, when you show children are a like next level issue, right? So once you start showing children's faces or video, I mean, that's especially when they're not doing anything
super egregious.
Right. I mean, it's one thing if I do believe that a child should be punished for the behaviors that they're, especially if they're doing something inappropriate. I would want to know if it was my own child.
Sure.
But I think to just blast, and this is the issue with social media now, right? To just blast their photos. Kids are young. If you think about it, we grew up in a world where anything and everything we did No one knew.
No one
right?
knew.
There was no video. There were no photos. There was no, I mean, it was such a safe way to grow up. And now these kids, they blink the wrong way. And, not to bring it back again to business ownership, but I mean, I look at my kids and I'm like, listen, if my kids will tell me stories where, they go into a restaurant to order like an ice cream and there's a child with them who's blasting music and they feel uncomfortable. And I'm like, listen, you immediately remove yourself from that situation because I don't want you being known as the child who interrupts a place of business. Like, be respectful.
Yes.
But now these kids, they just don't even have a place an outlet. I mean, these kids are outside.
So much scrutiny.
Throwing rocks into a river and they're being put on the internet. And, and again, I mean, listen, from a mom perspective, right? I mean, there are some things that are completely off limits. And I feel like my kids, completely off limits. If someone posts a photo or video of my child, it's over. It's completely over. The rock
Karen will
the
really
rock
come
isn't
out.
going into the river. The rock's going through the window. No, I'm just kidding.
The Karen is coming out.
The Karen
in that
is coming
situation.
out. Right.
But again, I think it's just this idea around, I mean, like James pointed out, the racism piece. I mean, I have never knew that was associated with the Karen. I mean, that definitely takes it to a whole other level. But I think we need to sort of understand that speaking up for yourself, I don't care where you are on the spectrum of, life or what's going on for you, is the right thing to do.
Sure.
If you're paying for a service and you're not receiving that service, you have every right to complain about that.
Right.
If you are witnessing something that's going on and you don't feel it's right, I don't care what race you are, whatever the case may be, you have a right to speak up in regard to that.
Sure. And I think the bare minimum, like I said, doing the bare minimum is not enough ever. No matter where you are, whether you are shopping at a high-end boutique or shopping at the Dollar Tree, the service that is provided should be top-notch no matter what, right? Like and again, I can say that as a business owner, I'm always wanting to provide the very best. And I think there's no room for mediocrity. And I think when people accept that, that's when things go bad. And I tell that to my kids, I'm going to say something, another pet peeve of mine while we're at it.
Go for it.
For years, kids have been recognized for getting incredibly high grades in certain courses. And, in certain schools at the elementary level, they're recognized at graduation. And I've always thought that was such a lovely, it's nice to see. It's nice
hard
to
work
see that.
paid
It's
off.
nice to recognize that.
Sure.
Well, there is a year where things kind of shifted. And I'm going to say it comes from some of the Karens who said, why don't we do awards on another night? So the kids who aren't getting the awards don't feel bad. And I know as a parent, I was bothered by that.
Yeah.
Because I actually enjoy the thought of someone who's not getting an award, seeing the potential, right? If you do this, you can get this. And striving to a higher degree or higher standard.
This just sounds to me like the give everybody a trophy.
Everybody doesn't deserve a trophy. Second place is the first loser.
Yeah. And work towards becoming first place.
Exactly. And you know what? It's okay, because I say that with the idea of it's okay to not always win. It's okay to not always be the best. It's okay to, but always strive for it.
Use it as something to strive for.
Right. It's your stepping stone. It's not, it's not enough to just accept mediocrity ever.
I agree 1,000%. I think that's a big thing, right? Like just settling.
You're right.
Settling and being, we talked a little bit on another episode about sensitivity, and I feel like there's room for sensitivity, and there's a place for that. But we can't always be so sensitive that we don't allow for people to grow.
Right.
And that's where I think is exactly what you're talking about here. It's like if you're a child that did not receive the award and you have to witness your class. I mean, this was our lives. I can't tell you how many times I witnessed people receive awards that I didn't get. I mean, was I internalizing this as like, oh, I'm a piece of shit because I didn't get no, I was using it as fuel. It became my motivation to up level in my adulthood, you know, and recognizing that like my adolescence wasn't a definition of my future life.
You can do anything. I also think there's such a taboo to talk about, okay, well, if you're not there, right? If you are who you want to be, who you identify with, and who you hang with. If you're hanging out with 5 losers, you'll be the 6th. If you're hanging out with 5 winners, you'll be the 6th. You put yourself in situations where you strive to be the very best.
This is the proximity principle in action. Like you have to put yourself in proximity with who you want to be, because if you put yourself in a position where you're just settling for who you know, maybe what feels most comfortable, then you're going to end up becoming that.
Right. So true.
So true. Yeah. Well, we have to feel bad about this.
I don't feel bad about it. I almost feel like it's an honor when someone calls me a Karen in certain settings.
You wear it like a badge.
I'll wear it like a badge.
Yeah, I agree. I think we have to reframe the Karen. Sure, there's people. I mean, if that's the definition where it like involves, you know, being super privileged and racist and all this other stuff. Okay, maybe there's a place for that person.
Sure,
but
they're a different type of Karen.
Right. That's an elevated Karen.
Right. But I think the Karen that we're referring to is just trying to do better than
get what they deserve.
Like strive for greatness. Don't settle for mediocrity.
I agree.
All right. So speaking of
mediocrity, no, I actually like.
No,
this.
I wasn't.
Speaking of mediocrity, no,
this is actually really good.
I actually like it too.
Speaking of, we're moving along to the next segment, which is sip or skip. And today we're talking about Croteau Vineyard, which is such a unique vineyard on Long Island, right?
I've never been.
You've never been. I've been. I haven't been for a long time. I have to go back. In fact, I feel like we should make a trip out there and kind of pick up like a whole slew of wines and champagnes. But this vineyard focuses on solely rosé, which I think is unique because for such a long time, rosé had such a stigma. I don't know if you're aware of this, but
no, I didn't.
You know, like White Zinfandel
Rosé
and people, people like strayed away from that.
White Zinfandel, I'm really not a fan, but this is not really like
this is different. And this is, so they focus on rosé blends only, right? And it varies. I've seen light rosé, dark rosé, and that's all that they serve.
Okay.
So, and it's a beautiful little vineyard. It almost looks like a French, like chateau. The bottle's gorgeous. And
what's so crazy is like, I live here, yet I never go to these places. We have to venture out.
We do. There's a couple places on my radar now that I'd like to like hit and share.
What is near there? Do you know?
Everything. So I think they're, I shouldn't say that.
They're North Fork?
They're North Fork. They're a little off the beaten path, which makes it more charming because it does have a beautiful little kind of vibe. And I've had a lot of their wines and I've never been disappointed. So what would you rate this?
So here, fill me up a little. I need a little better taste.
This is also the, Cabernet Franc.
Cabernet? Huh. I don't know why the title of it changes it a little bit for me. It's a sparkling though.
Yes.
Okay. Let me just take one more sip. Okay. My first thoughts. It's not sparkling. To me, a sparkling has a little bit of a freshness to it that this is missing. Am I saying it's bad? No, I'm not. Because I really actually like the taste of it. I feel like it has it's a nice light, like rosé taste. but I'm not sure it meets a sparkling category. It's not sparkling. Do you think there's not even a bubble?
There's not a sparkle. Although the strange thing is, if you recall, when we opened it, the cork shot out like a bat out of hell. So I don't know if maybe we shot all the carbonation into the air, but yeah, there is zero carbonation.
I don't taste any carbonation. Let me try it again.
No, it's not there. It's flat.
Flat.
But delightful.
All right. So I would say, you know what? I'm going to give it a 7. I say 7. 7 is not bad.
I say 7 as like it's such a bad number.
It's not. No, I just love
to get a 7 in the Olympics.
True.
They're doing well.
I like to shoot for the stars with most things and then like work my way down.
Everyone doesn't get a trophy. Karen.
Good point. I will say a 7, and I feel like I always try to place where I could see myself enjoying this. I feel like I could see myself enjoying this by a pool. Okay. Mm-hmm. Maybe not on the boat, but by a pool. The last one we reviewed, I would say I could see myself on a boat. This, I see myself on next to a pool, poolside.
Having lunch. It's fresh. It's flat.
No, I know. You know what it is, though? You and I are bubbly types.
We are.
And this is very flat.
It's different. Maybe it's not flat for others. Maybe it's just flat for us. No,
it's flat.
I agree with you. I think
there's no sparkle to this.
There's zero sparkle. If I were...
I need to take a look at the bottle.
If I were... It says sparkle. If I were having... I think I could have this... Also poolside or even at the beach.
Okay.
Right? With a salad. It's like a very like crisp, that the lack of bubble is not reflected in the lack of taste.
True.
I actually really love the color. I think it's vibrant. Mm-hmm. And I think
the taste is very nice.
The taste is nice. Can you
just
imagine
not
it with
what
bubbles?
you expect?
With bubbles, it would be even better.
An offshoot.
Let's talk to them.
You need an offshoot.
But yeah, it's good. All right. Well, listen, these Karens.
Signing out.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in today.
Please like and subscribe to our social media channels at Champagne Confidential Podcast.